kind of world, where animals were replaced by machines.
When you look at it, I mean, you are looking at scenes of stations and sidings and broken up carriages and trains zooming through the countryside, you know, this strange kind of fracturing of the rural idyll.
The first book in the Thomas the Tank Engine series came out in 1942 and was entitled The Three Railway Engines. The author was an Anglican vicar called Wilbert Awdry, who had been fascinated by steam trains as a small boy.
Awdry himself got the books originally, the idea for the books, from his father, who had a model railway in the garden, and when he was staying at Box near Bristol, where the trains had to come by and climb a gradient, he used to listen and hear the trains making all these noises and imagine they were speaking to each other.
Come along, come along, come along, puffed Thomas. But Clarabelle didn't want to come. I've lost my nice guard. I've lost my nice guard, she sobbed.
At first, the Reverend Awdry had no thought of publication. He made up the stories about the railway line where trains acted like children to amuse his young son.
Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. It went into a tunnel and squeaked through its funnel, and it never came out again.
Awdry's stories were often thinly disguised parables for children about what happened to naughty trains who went off the rails.
Thomas's world was one of very simple moral tales, really. For example, one of the early stories, one of the express engines, is too proud to go out in the rain with his new paint, and so he refuses to come out of the tunnel. So they wall him up and take the tracks up.
Half a face, peering out of a dark tunnel, bricked up. What was Reverend Awdry talking about at that point? It was a terrifying punishment.
He's very sad because no one will ever see his lovely green paint with red stripes again. Do you think he deserved to get stuck in there?
If you show me that picture of the engine being bricked up in the tunnel, like disappearing behind the bricks, that's me. There's no question of it. That is me being bricked up and left in a tunnel. That's what fiction can do for you.
I find them a bit weird myself. Everything about them, the detail and the trains and what have you, is really realistic. And then they've got these funny human faces painted on them. I find that really, really odd. But my grandson, who's quite little, loves them.
Steam trains have long been shunted into the sidelines of history. Yet Thomas and his friends are more popular than ever with young children. What is the secret ingredient?
This, I truly believe, is the key to the success of Thomas the Tank Engine. The face on the tank.
The expressions on the faces of the engines give clues about how the characters are feeling inside, providing a beginner's guide to the emotions.
You cannot talk about Thomas the Tank Engine without paying tribute to the genius of those grey, round faces. You know, faces have extraordinary power to move you.